I'd like you to find the surface area and the volume of the sphere. And let's have you round your answers to the nearest tenth. You know, I think the book is going to talk about that as well. Round your answers to the nearest tenth. Alright. Try your sphere. And I'm going to give you a radius of 6 yards. And that's all I'm going to give you, folks. Find the surface area, find the volume. Let's do surface area first. We'll put the volume equation over here. Try to conserve as much paper as we can. Surface area, 4 pi r squared. Hope you got a calculator with you. If not, pause, find a calculator, get your phone out. 4 pi r squared. Okay. Surface area is going to be 4. I don't know why I made the parentheses. We're just going to roll with it. I need parentheses for the radius here. 6 squared. Okay. Simplify all this. We need to do exponents before we do multiplication. So we're going to do this first. 6 times 6 is 36. We got 4 times pi times 36. Multiply these two numbers together. 4 times 36, I think it's 144. I don't want to mess this up. Certainly not on my last day of teaching. Yeah, 144. So it's 144 pi. Folks, go ahead and circle this. Don't punch that in your calculator yet. This is what we call an exact answer. I'm not sure. I really should have looked at the answer key in the book, or the directions in the book. I think they talk about this. If not, here it is. This is just good extra stuff for all of you. This is what we call an exact answer. There's no decimals. I really should have put the units, yards squared, because it's surface area. This is what we call an exact answer. No decimal, and you leave the pi in the problem. However, we are asked in these directions to round to the nearest tenth, so let's go ahead and punch that out, everybody. Let's do 144 times pi. Okay, this is a decimal answer. This is what we want. Surface area. How about 452.4 yards squared? These are the exact same thing. This is a decimal answer. And this is an exact answer. They both are the exact same thing. This one, we just multiply the pi to the 144 and you'll get that. Volume, let's do volume, folks. 4/3 pi r. Make sure it's cubed. There's a huge difference between surface area and volume. Make sure this is square. Make sure that's cubed. I do have kids make that mistake in the past. Alright, 4/3 pi radius cubed. 6 times 6 times 6, I believe it's 216. Times 216. Quick check. 6 times 6 times 6. There she is. 216 times pi times 4/3. Now let's do the let's not do the pi symbol yet. I think I showed you this on Wednesday, everybody. But turn that 216 into a fraction. Basically, multiply these two together and then divide by the number on the bottom. So I'm going to take the 216, multiply by the 4. Okay, we get 864. Now divide it by 3. 288. So that's doing the 216 times 4/3. Multiply by the 4, divide by the 3 on the bottom, and you get 288. Volume is 288 pi. Yards cubed, because it's volume. That's the exact answer. And let's take it a little further. Let's multiply that by pi. We don't want the exact answer. We want a decimal answer. How about 904.8? Make sure you round to the nearest tenth, folks. And you're good to go. Alright, not bad. Notice how to do both of these problems, surface area and volume. All you need is a radius. That's all you need. If you're given a radius, you could find the surface area and the volume. It's pretty simple. Alright, here's your curveball. Example 2. I promise this is a curveball. I'd like you to find the volume and surface area. I'm switching the order. There's a reason for this, folks. Just be ready for it. I'd like you to find the volume and surface area of the... Okay, well, if I just put sphere again, it's going to be the exact same problem. Let's do it of the hemisphere. To spell hemisphere, just put the word hemi in front. Hemi is a root word that means two. So two pieces, two parts of a sphere. But find the volume and the surface area of the hemisphere. Let's draw a hemisphere. A hemisphere basically looks like this. It's a half circle with this and that. Do not draw the bottom, because the bottom is, well, that's a whole sphere. I'd like you to draw this top. So let's draw this. There we go. There's our hemisphere. It's a half a sphere, everybody. It's a half a sphere. Here we go. I'm going to give you a radius of... How about 24 inches? 2 feet, 24 inches. Find the volume of the surface area. Everybody, let's do the volume first. Surface area I'm going to wait for, because that's a little bit of a tricky problem. But let's find the volume of the hemisphere. So volume of a sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed. But folks, you got to remember, this is not a whole sphere. It's a half a sphere. So this up here, the volume of a sphere, is if we were to fill this whole basketball up with water. We don't have a whole basketball. We've got a half a basketball. So for this equation, what you need to do is you need to modify this just a bit. You need to multiply everything by 1/2, because it's a half a sphere. So here we go. Let's find the volume. It's going to be 1/2 times 4/3 pi radius 24 cubed. So what I'm going to do is we're going to cube this 24, get a really, really big number. And feel free to go ahead and multiply those fractions together. If you multiply a half by 4/3, hopefully everybody remembers how to multiply fractions. You can multiply tops together, 4. You multiply bottoms together, 6. Reduce by 2, and you're going to get 2/3. Or you can cross cancel. So volume is going to be 2/3 pi. Remember, this is a hemisphere. I'm taking half of a sphere because I have half of a sphere. Makes sense, I hope. Times, what is 24 to the third? That is going to be a crazy large number. 24 times another 24. Yup. 13,824. Okay. Volume equals, I'm going to multiply the 13,824. You can put this over 1, so multiply it to the top number. Divide it by the bottom number. So I'm going to multiply by 2. And it doesn't matter what order. You could divide first, then multiply. It doesn't matter what order. I multiply by 2, divide by 3. There it is. 9,216 pi. And it doesn't say anything in the directions about what to round to, so let's go and round to, once again, round to the nearest tenth. Multiply that by pi. And the volume is 28,952.9 inches cubed. The volume is always cubed units. Okay. Surface area. This is a tricky one. I really wish I had a hemisphere that I could show you, like hold up a half of a grapefruit or something. Well, if the surface area equation of a sphere is 4 pi r squared, we're going to use that. It's 4 pi r squared, but that's of an entire sphere. And we don't have an entire sphere, we have a hemisphere, we have a half a sphere. So once again, go ahead and multiply that by a half. So that's going to be, what, 2 pi r squared? Because a half of 4 is 2. And a lot of kids think that that's the equation of a hemisphere. It's 2 pi r squared. That is not the equation of a hemisphere. That is the curved part. if you were to paint this curved part, the front and the back, it's kind of hard to visualize, but just think about a half a grapefruit with me. If you were to paint the outside of the half a grapefruit, that's what it would be. It'd be 2 pi r squared. If you came up here, if you painted an entire sphere, top and bottom, all sides, it's 4 pi r squared. It makes sense that we're cutting in half for a hemisphere, but we haven't painted every single surface, because if you take this half a grapefruit and turn it up on its side, you see this great circle right here, the flat part. You also have to include this area. That's an area that you need to include as well. And it's just a regular old circle, everybody. So to find the area of a circle, we need to add that area of the great circle, which is going to be pi r squared. That's the great circle. So this is the surface area equation of a hemisphere. It's going to be half the equation of the sphere, but you also have to consider the great circle. So let's go ahead and plug the 24 in for the radius of both these, and we'll get our surface area equation. 2 pi radius 24 squared plus pi 24 squared. Cool, cool, cool. Alright, if you know what you're doing, I'll meet you at the answer, folks. I'm going to square 24. I'm going to square 24. Surface area is going to be 2 pi 576 for some reason. That sounds right. 24 times 24 equals 576. There it is. 576 plus pi times 576. Alright, multiply the 2 and the 576. The surface area is going to be, okay, we're slowly getting there, 1,152. Excuse me. Pi plus 576 pi. That's going to be the curved surface. That's going to be the great circle. You could punch both these out as a decimal, or couldn't you just combine like terms? 1152 pi plus 576 pi. Add those together. 1728 pi. And this is when I'm going to multiply by pi, and we'll get our decimal answer. Surface area is 5,428.7. Round to the nearest tenth. What are my units? What are my units? Inches. Squared. Make sure it's squared for surface area, cubed for volume. Alright, that was supposed to be a curveball. I don't know if it was a curveball, folks. Don't know if it was a curveball. Oh, by the way, that was A. That was example 2A. Let's do example 2B. Let's flip this over.